Math is great, math is okay. You will need in life every day. From pandas to functions, to fractions, to formulas.
Alright, so if I ask you the question, what's the remainder of a polynomial? You can use long division like we did in the warm-up. You can use synthetic division, or you can use something called the remainder theorem. We just did that, right? Where basically you input, what do you input into your polynomial? You're going to substitute in the binomial value. So here's the binomial, and then that's what you're inputting in there, and you get some kind of number, right? The number left over, the output is your remainder. Well, these two are actually connected. The question is it a factor? Is this where it crosses the x-axis for this graph? Well, easily you can just put it into your graphing calculator, but you're doing this algebraically, so what do you do? The factor theorem says look at the remainder. If you have a remainder that is equal to 0 or no remainder, then yes, it is a factor. And the reason why is that your remainder is actually your y-coordinate, 0. Does that make sense? An x-intercept is like, say, 5, 0. But if you have a remainder, and this remainder is not equal to 0, so 1, 6, 10, or like our previous problem 6, then it's not a factor. So in today's lesson, we're actually going to be using both. We have to figure out what the remainder is, and then based on the remainder, then we can figure out if it's a factor or not. Alright, I asked you guys to simplify in as many ways possible. 2x squared minus x plus 12 divided by x plus 3. We've been focusing on long division, so that would just be x plus 3. 2x squared minus x plus 12. X goes into 2x squared. How many times plus? 2x. Multiply. Subtract. Two minus 2 is 0. Negative 1 minus 6. How much? Down. That's 12. X goes into negative 7x. Negative 7 times x is in x. Negative 1. And you subtract to get what? How much? 30. So our answer for the quotient is 2x minus 7. Is this addition or subtraction? Addition. So it's 33 over x plus 3. So this is the quotient. I'm going to highlight it. This is the remainder. Then when we do synthetic division, Joanne, what goes up here? Negative 3. Remember, you're taking x plus 3 and you're setting it equal to 0. I call that the zero product rule. It's not essentially if you typed into Google zero product rule, this would not come up. The reason why I do that is you just do it a lot in math. So it's kind of like my shortcut. And you get negative 3. What numbers am I going to put in here, Margarita? 2, negative 1, and 12. We're going to bring this down. 2, multiply, add down. You'll notice you have the same numbers over here. That becomes a positive, negative times negative, and then that's 30. So our answer is pretty much the same. 1 degree less than what we started with. 2x minus 7 plus 33 over x plus 3. Again, I want to just highlight the remainder. this is the new one. They call this the remainder theorem. So, the remainder theorem says if I take this polynomial, f of x equals 2x squared minus x plus 12. And for every x value, I'm going to put in negative 3. Do you see how that negative 3 is what we use for the synthetic division as a divisor? And I'm going to replace that. So I'm taking my x value of negative 3 and I'm putting it basically for every x value. I get 2 times negative 3 squared minus negative 3 plus 12. Here I'm going to do PEMDAS, so exponents first. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9 times 2 is 15. Opposite of a negative 3. Positive 12. So f of negative 3. If you add all those up, you'll get 33. So what is the remainder theorem? Instead of doing long division or synthetic division, you might have a super long polynomial. If you set it equal to 0, you could just take your x value, put it into your function, and basically your result after you evaluate is your remainder.
I love man. You don't love man? What's wrong with you?
Alright, so I'm trying to do an introduction here on what the factor theorem is. And I'm trying to use a basic math problem. Is for a factor of 8, we did 4 goes into 8 twice, multiply, then you subtract, and you get 0. Remainder of 0, yes, it's a factor. Then I said, is 3 a factor of 7? So 3 goes into 7 there. Elizabeth, how many times 3 go into 7? 2 times 6? 2 times 3? And if you subtract, what do you get? So what's your remainder? What statement did you write, Lisbeth? Yes or no? No what? No, it is not a factor. So let me try to explain the factor theorem in like super less words. It's a factor when your remainder is equal to 0. That's it. That's what the factor theorem is.
I had to divide to get it right. I'm really playing chess. I use my knight, can't fall behind. I got it right, don't sleep in class. Or you won't pass. I use my formula sheet, cause I don't cheat. I use it on my test. I'm feeling blessed, rose for a Christ. You gotta come, remember in class, we don't chew gum. Get off your phone and pay attention. Not to mention, you're your detention.